Hello once again. Just thought I'd knock this one out earlier in the day here. Venture out to the restaurant after a bit. Sure, it'll still be all craziness. My first roommate at the hospital, Gabriel, he's probably in his 60s, but he's running for president. He's going to walk 450 miles to Washington, D.C., and he wanted to put something in the White House lawn. I was like, man, this guy's off his rocker. But what show are we watching out there? Is it really that much crazier what they're doing in the government? But he had 10 vice presidents. He'd handwritten letters to all of them, 9 white Republicans, and then Hillary Clinton for diversity. But he was always bouncing his ideas off of me, his platform, 10% flat tax. I was like, okay. But then he said, abolish divorce. I was like, I don't think that one's going to fly, His parents had divorced, sure, it sounds good. My other friend in there, another John, he had a fiance and he wanted to marry her, and so started talking about that, the marriage contract. The state steps in there as the third party, give you a marriage license, so that's basically admitting that you're not responsible for your own behavior, that the state is going to be in there. Yeah, they'll take a third of your property because you're not ready. You're not a 666. You're not the man. But I just said, well, why don't you just do it? Because all that court system is admiralty, maritime law. It's all contracts. It's like goods on this ship are going to be transferred on land or to another ship, and it works with the contract. There's a lot of fake contracts that you agreed to that you don't know. Birth certificate, social security number, those are all contracts. You can abolish those just by speaking out, but you might want to keep that around. Your straw man, your corporation, it's an estate, a trust, it's all those things. But to navigate in this world, you'll need that if you're out there participating in that commercialism. But remember, the first commerce is that eye to eye, face to face. That's the original commerce. So I said, well, just do a 7-year contract, and you can renegotiate it at any time and then renew it. And the other girl there, she's like, that seems kind of long, like maybe 7 months and, 7 weeks. It's like, all right, just 7 hours. Start there. Do a 7-hour marriage contract. All your terms in there, what you expect, what you're willing to provide, just spell it all out and renegotiate it. It's a much smarter way to go about life when you know that that's what's on the board. It's all contract law, but you do contracts person to person. It requires 2 wet ink signatures. It requires full understanding of both parties of what's expected. And but Gabe, when he was packing up to leave, I could tell he didn't want to leave, because he dropped it in therapy that morning that he was afraid to die alone. I was like, damn, brother. But he kind of like verbalized that existential crisis that, everyone has, to some extent, like, because you don't really know, but that's the part of playing the game. That was one of the rules that we agreed to in our soul contract, to come here and have this experience. So yeah, I'll have to check up on him and see if he's going to be the next president. But they let him go. I was still in there another 5 days. I was like, where are these experts? That's your whole career, but you can't tell me, prove that there's something, schizophrenic in me. Like, that's your whole job. That's it. But here they are, all just masked up, denying their creator, breaking the law. The CO2 poisoning, yeah, it's very real. That hypercapnia. I saw a bus driver masked up. So what happens there when she crashes the bus from this? But like we said, it's 4 out of 5 people just will not question anything. That 80%. So where are we? We have 15% that question the official story. the 4% who questioned that part of it, and then the 1%. That's us. So you got the 19% at the 1%, us. We're working with that 19, just another 19, to do what's good for the collective humanity. Because that 80%, they're just taking their cues from the stage right now, and you can see how that's going. Not good. Father's Day, summer solstice on Sunday. I knew that was a special day. Like the Hopi, time is coming to an end. The earth is ending. The numbers are just, glaring at you. 0621, that's 9. Take the other 2 from 2020, you get 11. So there's 9/11. The other 2, then you have 13, the capstone. Add all those together, 9, 11, 13, 33. So yeah, that's a pretty special day there. Scott was sending me stuff, the 216, like that's a big number. And I hadn't even thought of it. But yeah, it's 6 cubed, 666, 216. And we talk about when you sign in, born in sin, you're just coming on that sine wave, it crosses the horizon plane at a 60-degree angle. And so what do you have? You have 180-degree vision. So you got your 60 degrees to become a man, become a 6. And then you got 120 degrees to play with over there. So 612. 216 is Cleveland, Minneapolis, combinations of those numbers. Even the country Syria, the country code is I forget what it is, but it's the combination of that 216. So yeah, the bus driver's wearing a mask. That's pretty close to a mosque, right, in Islam. So when you go into a mosque, what are you really going to find there? You're breaking the law. You're worshiping false idols. All those religions. Why do people go to church, really? The parents, I see it a lot. We took the kids there, but, once they grew up, we stopped going. That kind of thing. So there's guilt for that. But what do you really get is the fellowship, the people there, right? That's what you're going to see, check up on. So that's the original intent. So just know that if you do go to a church, that is the purpose, to get the commerce. I don't know, all this Jesus freaks that keeps popping up, handing tickets out for God. Elton John, was listening to some of his stuff last night, and yeah, just once again makes perfect sense. I went through some of my books. I got rid of them, tried to sell all of them, just because I had hundreds of them and I was tired of lugging them around. But the ones I couldn't get rid of, that nobody wanted to buy, were very key. So I still have them, probably for that purpose. So, virus, but bacteria, germs, this stuff has been around forever. I mean, here's one, this little one, John Tilden. I don't know if that's in reverse on there, but this is 1910. One disease, constipation, cellular constipation. So, I mean, he's talking about it back then. So some people just aren't going to get it, ever. But we know beyond a doubt that you don't have to worry about catching a disease. This is the other one I talked about, orthomolecular nutrition. So it's a little bit dry reading, but you got your niacin in there. That's what's going to open up the cells, histamine release. So that's part of that constipation, relieving that in the cellular level. Thousands of different tissues, so there's thousands of diseases, but it's just that one dis-ease, that one cause. I talked about Antoine Béchamp, and so this was the first one I read there. This one has it all, and she wrote that I think in the 30s, and but she was a woman, so she had her name was E. David Hume, so people would think that it was a man that wrote it, but very thorough, extremely thorough. That's in the 1860s, all the way up till early 1900s. I mean, Béchamp just nailed pastures, the ass to the ground, man, like no way around it. But you can see the power of the propaganda that they wanted to push the whole pasteurized, all that stuff. And you see all the industries that have sprung up around that. I mean, that's all they wanted to do at the hospital. Drugs, will you take drugs? I said, no, it's against my religion. Um, and if you really want to go down to it, I mean, here's Bechamp, you know, this kind of makes your head hurt, the level of detail that he went into. Experiments, he ran them for years to see what was the origin of life. And he called it microzyma. We talked about Gaston Nasons. I think he had another name for him. It's just that first crystal of intelligence. It takes the radio frequencies and starts that whole cycle, that microbiology cycle. But, you know, there's a lot of other books, you know, more accessible. Here's a fun one. You know, people just don't need that level of detail. Rethinking germ theory. And, you know, people are worried about their kids going to school and they need vaccines. They got forms in there. Just fill it out. Religious exemption. Of course it exists. For everything. I said that to them. They were hands up, hands off. Because nobody can question that. Because that's what is real. I was in contact with this guy. He was in naturopath school in Chicago. But he just put this one out. Thugs, Drugs, and the War on Bugs. He's got a great chapter in there on germ theory. Just one chapter. And I asked him if I could distribute it to my classmates. Because I was in naturopath school. And he's like, yeah. But again, it's 4 out of 5, right? Not everybody's going to be open to that. But we know beyond a doubt that there's nothing to fear there. When I was in school, I was thinking about it because we were doing the microbiome class, and everybody's scared shitless of all these Escherichia coli and all these bad bugs and germs. And I dropped little things on my professor, but you know he wasn't going to get it. He's got his whole career based on that, teaching this nonsense. But I had a dream. I've had several of these where I'm at a table and it's like they're just showing me everything, and it's so about my whole body, like where the bacteria were. They're like sentinels. It's a part of your system, your signaling system. And I was like, wow, you know, I got it then, like really got it. And I went to the president's wife. She was in just from grad school. You know, you could do independent study for credits, and she was like, oh, okay. And I started telling her what I was up to, and she just the look on her face, and she was like, because the board, right? Someone's a naturopath, it's just regular allopathic medicine with herbs, pretty much. So, you know, there's security levels in this, at all of those layers. Talk about the Bible. It really needs a you know, like a writer is like a warning. You know, don't take us literally. You know, there's good stuff in there, but it's a slog. You can pretty much get all the good messages from Gospel of Thomas. So that wasn't included. And I think it's just like 112 phrases, but they're all gold. And that's in Gospel of Peace. That tells you how to live, go about your life for your health. And I would go ahead and throw in Enoch, Book of Enoch, because you can tell that's a powerful message there. You know, they left that one out too. And Enochian Bibles, just did an image search, but go take a look at those, just how complex they are. Gold pages, and you know, I'm sure Ethiopia fits in there somewhere, the Ark of the Covenant. You know, where is that? Indiana Jones, and they're trying to find this thing. But really, we already know what the real one is, right? That's just on the stage, the representation of your heart. That's the whole goal of this life, this experience, is to master that, so you don't have to live in fear, manifesting things that are stopping you. You know, I was dropping in on the law people. They're going up in there, yet they're seeing the way it works. That's the Babylonian system to handle lawbreakers. That's why it exists. You can go up there and look real close at it until maybe finally you get it. That's why it exists, and it's actually perfected from eternity. The way it runs, we just don't know why it's there and what it's for. So if they really want to progress there, just get that law, learn that one, master that one, and that whole system will obey. It's a shadow of your consciousness. That's all it's checking for. It's just no one has come along to tell anyone that. So yeah, I mean, there's a million codes, regulations, policies. You can read them till you're blue in the face, but until you have that, your heart, your chest, war chest sewn up, you'll just be banging your head coming down the slide. None of it will really make sense. But this is the key that's makes all that make sense. And that's why it will have to exist. So, people talk about they want financial success and that kind of stuff. What's the venue? Where are you going to be? What's the revenue, the revenue? So, what's that stream? And so if you're going at that with an impure heart and impure motivations, then you're going to get checked. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a struggle. But once you have yourself together and you're asking for the right reasons, you'll be surprised how it just takes care of itself. You don't even have to think about it. Like, it's just a tool, it's the currency. Just one more thing you don't really have to worry about. Some of the other, I don't know, things that people come up, like the reincarnation, it's like, oh, wow, we were reincarnated, and oh shit, we're reincarnated, we're recycled. And then, you go into the light, you see that white light, and people like, just turn away from that light. Where are you going to go then? You know what I mean? Someone's like trying to get on that TV show Survivor, on the island. What would that really represent? Surviving this light, or this life, right? To be the one survivor. That's really what we're moving towards. But one with everyone, because we have that knowledge now. So yeah, nothing scary about any of that. The other one morning I was waking up and I had gone through all that stuff, and finally, like, the hard stuff was passing, and in that subliminal state, I just saw, like, I was down here as a 3, looking at the 3s, and I just slipped up like a paramecium, just swam off. And then I was just up here doing the exact same thing, and I was like, that's it? All that work is just that little movement, that motion, I was like, man, I thought there'd be, like, angels, like, screaming, and get a handshake from God or something, But really, that's it. That's just your next stage. Step up to that 6. So now you can communicate from the 9, your top chakra there, to the 3s. Be the man. That 3, 6, 9. Talked with the guys in the hospital a lot about the frequencies. Everything's frequency. I mean, these guys were like tuned in. They could see stuff, and of course everyone was telling them that something's wrong with them. But I was like, yeah, I've seen it just briefly, but these guys are seeing it all the time. Like the solar gazing, the sun's consciousness. It's alert. You can get a lot of answers from that. But just whatever you ask for, you will get, especially if you have pure intentions. My dad always said, be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. I mean, that's how powerful our manifestation is. It's not something to be trifled with. You just have to demonstrate and earn it, to be accountable and respect it. It's the greatest. That's the secret. Everyone's the secret. Well, it was just manifesting. But what did they not tell you? The real secret, right, is that you have to do things with a pure heart. If you want some material gain, or you want to accumulate money and hoard it away, it just doesn't work. So that's the real secret. Everything here will just be a test to see if you go along and doubt your fellow man, let alone the rest of life. uh, I saw a email. It's like dangerous passengers now. Now the passengers are putting the drivers at risk by not wearing a mask, right? So it's just another test, just pitting people against people. You see that through all of this. It's just one big test, but it's meant to be enjoyed. Whatever, you can just laugh at it. That's the best medicine, truly. So I don't know. People keep sending me these videos, but I'm like, it's the same shit, man. It's just right up there. Threes yelling at threes. Eric Dubé's most controversial interview yet. I just glanced through it, just flat earth shit. Really? Is that really right? That was the preparatory stage to loosen up your mind for the bigger ideas. That's the fermentation of allowing your thoughts to accommodate the new information. I mean, that's what I went through. I could just feel stuff like walls like collapsing. And in that absence, though, you have to rebuild. So, that's where you want to just pay attention to your roles that you've taken on. We talked about that. It's not, you don't have to give those up. You just have to be aware of it as you're entering in that capacity, and do it with your good intentions. And if you don't know what that is, just ask. If you don't know, just ask. As the king, there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's no dumb questions. Well, there probably are, but go ahead and ask. So yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more. I always see a few comments after I'm done, but so yeah, probably Trump will be the president again. The show will keep kicking for the 80% that need it, but we don't need it. Now we know what it is. We know why it exists. Why is it doing what it does? Because it's not as it's presented, right? It's to keep prodding us on this test, this life cycle. So that's our first development. We now know our lifespans are a lot longer in reality, because we don't have to eat ourselves into those early graves and all that disease, right? I mean, there's no more questions about that. A lot of people, when if you're fasting or not eating much, you'll lose weight. Yeah, you'll get gone. Like, I was like super skinny. But that's like all the bad stuff has to go off. You'll shed that, all those cells. You'll get super skinny, but then you can gain weight by not even eating, because it's the cells are replicating from solar energy. Cells make everything they need, and so you'll just fill out to what your natural form is. In the past, when that knowledge was widespread, all those amazing buildings, those big churches, but they're really like health centers, because the organs were just off the hook in their size, and they were just ringing those frequencies, and it would just tune everybody up. They experienced it directly. Solfeggio frequencies. Like, look into those. Those are like each organ system is going off its ideal vibration. We're not there yet, because it's just comes in. It's just shifting. But yeah, the 369, 639. Get the 417, 714, 528 in the heart. 4, or whatever, 4. The other one they changed to 440. They correspond, right, on that spiral up the octaves from down on high. Like, that's what rings down through you in this electromagnetic experience. With our Nagua is riding those waves for our experience. That transcending or transurfing by that Russian mystic, like, just consider like a hose of water, and then there's a crystallization, like a freezing within that hose, and that's your current present. That's awareness. But then that will fall away, and then the freezing part will just keep going. It'll keep forming lattices and structures as you go through the hose of life, each of those points, right? That's what we perceive as our reality. But we've talked about your narwhal can do anything. You can go anywhere. Send it to the middle of the ocean right now. Right? You're there. So you certainly go back with your memories that you have. You can go forward to some extent. But, of course, that's the free will that makes the game interesting. And that's what we are learning to master, that, to have control of that free will and, operate from a heart perspective. So, yeah, I mean, just keep searching the fears out. I keep doing that, too. I went out and worked this morning. And, it's always that game. Who's got their mask on? Then the nosers, that gives me a little bit of hope. Like, at least they know to breathe. So, you're always going to find something that will scare you. And the closer you get, it'll be even more of a test. It'll just test you right down to the very, last step to make sure that you're, it's that eye of the needle. It's there for a reason. It's just a triple check your shit, because, I imagine that people did get that power. They said, Atlantis, whatever that was, but they were using this high technology and just messing shit up, big time. All the giants said that maybe they did climb up those trees up into heaven. It's like, that's not their place. So they had to come back down here and play the game. And that's us. People get bedazzled by all these things that might have happened in the past. It's pretty amazing, but always remember that that's your show. You're manifesting that. You're thinking it's separate from you. Like the fallen angels. I talked about that. It's every minute of your life you fell down in here. I said they came up into the women and they enjoyed. That's your life. You probably got married and had children. That's the fallen angels. You came down here and you got, lost in this realm. Now you're just finding your way back home, climbing up Jacob's ladder to get that higher perspective. So everything out there will make sense from that view. So we know the percentage breakdown, whether it's Bertrand Russell or Aldous or Aldous Huxley or, there's a bunch of them, H.G. Wells, it's a committee that does all that writing. Who's the other one they gave us? Norm or Chomsky. Does he really write all that stuff? How would he have time? It's too vast for a single man. But the messages are always consistent, what they're telling you. But that is a pretty consistent one that most people will not question anything. That's their role. So we don't have to expend any energy and frustration because they just don't get it. They never will. Find that 1%. Find that one other person. Turn that key, and then all the reflections out there will change because you see it for what it is. You don't have to worry about, that's people are turning blue and purple. Just that. I mean, it's really so straightforward. We're just going to choke a motherfucker out until they get it. You can't breathe. Literally. That's this God, really tapping you on the back. This is real. I saw one, if you're less than 2 years old, you don't have to wear a mask, or if you have. So that's for you to think. The game has gone so ridiculous. That's for you to put those pieces together. That's the only way that show will be ridiculous, until it becomes so obvious of what it really is. That's all it's waiting for. The whole set got cleared off. All the distractions. Movies, sports. They got a few politicians up there jabbing the right way, but that's basically it from what I've seen. All these numbers and there's no test for anything. It's just the real test is what's in your heart. Are you afraid? Did you put someone above your maker? That you're afraid of a virus? So that's just that representation. So just work on your, get your three together, your spirit and your soul and your body. That's the first cornerstone. And then go find the other threes. Know that that's the mirror. And anyone you talk, everyone's like, well, I want to, yeah, I kind of, they'll say, yeah, I believe in God. Or people, I was an atheist forever, but even those people know, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be motivated to go about your life. There wouldn't be a purpose to it. So the atheists are actually the most religious, ironically. And then the people say, well, I believe in God, but they're putting it out there on the stage. You're waiting for Jesus to come down out of the sky, out there, right? But there's only one way it will come, right down and through, from the heart into your forehead. And that whole system, that's all it is for. It's pretty miraculous. So, all right, we'll keep this one short. I should controlled opposition. Well, what's the con? Everyone's like, oh, it's a con. Kick it back 3 times, right? Con is the heart. The corrupt government officials. Of course, they always are. That's their whole job. That's all they do their whole life. There might be a few representatives, but they don't. Check out those senators. Families. That's what they do. Pretend to be a government. It's all pretend. Those kangaroo courts. They handle contracts. That's it. There's nothing else to them. There's like 3 real courts in the world. I took one, the Chancellor in Germany and The Hague. I think there's another one, Switzerland or someplace, because it's dealing with that real contract, that love and fear. Are you responsible? Are you capable? Can you be trusted to handle manifesting your life? That's the only game that is it's the only game in town. Everything else is a sideshow till you get it. Yeah, people refuse to question. They won't. Majority will not. That's your 80%. That's to be expected. But when you bring up that spiritual, that gets people's attention, because they know. Subliminally, subconsciously, they'd already know that. But they're playing their personality role for you, to help you graduate, to be of assistance. It's like, are you of service to yourself? Are you of service to others? You got to do it to yourself first before you can be of service to others. So a lot of people go out there, try to help, but they didn't help. Their building blocks aren't in place. So they're flailing around on the set. Like, are there children starving in Africa? I don't know. They can make movies about anything to tug on your heartstrings. You can't tell the difference there. CGI, and they made a movie going to the moon or outer space. It's more real than whatever we were shown, right? So be very discerning what you allow into your court, because it's always it's a shit show, man. That media is like blasting right through your corpus callosum. It's just all up there on the walls, and it's relentless. And if you keep watching it, that's what you manifest as your reality, just because you believe that. You don't know. Uh, so that's our test is right now is just to discern what is going on. So would Eric Dubay take this message to help people progress? Maybe drop it in the comments. My guess is that no, that's not his role. He's just talking about flat Earth. But like we said, it's our final step is for us. We're the only ones that can do that. I don't think anyone's just going to come out of there and drop this knowledge on people. This is probably why you're getting it like this, right? There's no fanfare here. There's no fancy movie effects, all that. This is just face to face. I don't have anyone coming at me from the system or anywhere. I just got a $250 check from the government. I thought it was gonna be $1,200. But maybe I filed taxes in 2017, some fluke. But taxes are voluntary. All that stuff we volunteer for. The 14th Amendment, read that one close, because it banned involuntary servitude. Sounds good, but didn't mention that voluntary. All that's all voluntary. But it's necessary for people who aren't ready, because they're still 49s. That's what the entire system out there is. So instead of bitching at it, because you already know what it can do and not do, understand it. So go up in there and look at it for the law people, but that's not your way out. You're not going to beat Babylon at its own system. You just can't. You may trick it here and there, but it's not what it's for. We know exactly what it's for and why it exists. And it has always existed. And it will always exist for people in this stage. So that's just one more thing you don't have to be afraid of or complain about. Let us see everybody on here. So if you're out in the park or doing something and there's an authority, got their costume on, you know what they're really doing, what they're all about. They don't. They're just out there following orders. But you got that mark of the beast in your forehead. So they're not your enemy. You're to help them. Tell them why their job exists, because they don't know. I guarantee you, none of them know. They think codes and policies, people don't even distinguish between that. They don't know the one law. And they certainly don't have that in their heart, but you can tell them that, and they feel a lot better about their whole life. Like, yeah, we need you. They are needed, because people are breaking the law. All the people going up in there in that legal system, I bet they're all breaking the law. I seen eating chicken, all that. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. We've talked about that. All the relationships. Just start on yourself first. Remember Osiris. Get that pen. Put that together first. Love yourself for who you are, for all your mistakes, because that was a learning process that brought you right here to this moment in the present. Right? That is the present. Make peace with all that. That's your life. It's the story of your life, literally written out in a book in chapters. So stay stuck on that never-ending chapter, the never-ending story. If that's all you can manifest, that's what it'll be. But this is a good opportunity to help our fellow truthers or anyone, your family, heal the generations of recycled trauma. It's in everyone. You wouldn't be here if we didn't have that. Like, there's not. You just be saintly. That's not what it's about. You live and you learn, and then you can correct those areas, and then that's where the true freedom and happiness, because it's a love game. Love and fear. That's the whole game. The whole set out there. Everything you see, that's what it's testing. It's sifting. Ground, like God's like shaking and see who falls through the grate. It'll keep shaking. It will. But we have more control of that now, and that will just increase as we go on and share this message face-to-face, original commerce, contracts with a handshake and look them in the eye, right? We learned that from the very beginning. Is that going on now? Not very much. So yeah, we'll see. It seemed like there would be some kind of an outlet. I saw a few people, getting a couple of views on those talks. So if this wasn't the right message, it wouldn't work. So there's no concerns on that end, and it's not for everyone. It's only for those who seek. So that's a big step to even want those answers, because it's 1%. It's really to go down that. Some people are like, we need to climb up out of the rabbit hole. We got to quit going down the rabbit holes. And well, that's it, right? You can only dig 8 miles down in the ground, right? So that's what you find in the rabbit hole. You just bang your head into solid ground. That's as far as you can go with that. But go up onto that ring, that 666 platform, and see everything for what it really is, and appreciate the majesty of it, because that's you. It's all of us, all one, golden fleece. So to bring Eden back, it's a cycle. So this is our time in the cycle. We chose these lives for that very reason. It's in that soul contract. If you want to update that, just do it right there. Quantum entanglement, instantaneous. We all have that power. So there's nothing holding me back. And then if there is, that's for you to work on. What is holding me back from anything? And ask for it, and your subconscious will take you right there. If there's something you're not aware of, that happens a lot. People get consumed with their careers and making money, and they forget the little small business around them. Even the animals are sensitive to that. So have fun playing the game, and whatever it is, just laugh at it. Truly, that makes those shadows jump out of the way, because God has a pretty wicked sense of humor, as we all do. One person said, what about the Apocrypha? That's our word for it's not real. That's the middle part between the Old and New Testament. There's some goodies in there, but it's just same long song. It's very rhythmic. The Bible and all that is it's a song. We just sort of lost that tune. We're down here, just blah blah blah, plodding along, speaking even. But it all comes down from a song, Seventh Heaven. So that vibe, the dance, is what we had forgot about. So yeah, I'm glad you guys are on this journey with me, and we'll get there for sure. Keep an eye on that. See what the mirror's doing. The shadow. It's pretty hilarious. Okay, everybody. We'll check in tomorrow. All right. Much love, everyone. Take care.